2023 will be my year. It wasn't. 2024 I will make it for sure. You didn't. But 2025, will it be the same? Or will you implement these 5 simple habits to make 2025 count? The choice, I'll leave that to you. This whole collection is inspired by Dylan Madden's 25 Habits for 2025. I picked out the 5 habits which are most important to me. However, you should definitely take a look at all 25. Link in the description. Now, I'm gonna give you 2 habits to cut off and 3 habits to master. Let's begin. I've said this once in my previous video and I'll say it again. You don't lack information, you need more action. You're most likely on Instagram or X. You probably spend about 3 to 5 hours each day on those platforms. But the worst part is that you already know it. You know your screen time and you also know that you gotta stop. However, why haven't you stopped yet? The apps, they are still lurking on your homepage. Therefore, resisting the temptation becomes impossible, doesn't it? Fuck the temptation. Delete them right now. This worked for me and it's gonna work for you. No one gives a shit about your social media profile more than you. And you know it very well. Therefore, remove them and cut the noise. You know that feeling when you're just lost in thoughts and procrastinating continuously on your tasks? That is overthinking. It comes from a lack of clarity. Hence, to succeed, you ought to move fast, but overthinking blocks the way. Therefore, you need precision, but how can you cut this mental clutter? I'll show you exactly how in habit number 4. Now that you know what to quit, let's move on to what you'll master. Your mornings are gonna decide the rest of your day. If you start the day with waking up late, rushing to school or uni, of course your whole day is gonna be frustrating. How you start sets the tone for the day. I usually start by going for a jog, but I have one cool technique you can use. It's what I call intentional introspection. Once you're up, immediately walk up to the mirror. Say, "Hey Siri, 2 minutes." And for these 2 minutes, look dead into your own eyes and decide what you'll conquer today. Once the timer goes off, immediately start executing your thoughts. Make this a habit and you'll start winning soon. This is probably my favorite from the list. I've been doing this a lot for now and it's perspective changing. All of us undergo different situations, different problems every day. If I ask you right now, you can name 10 problems going on in your life in this very moment. But if I ask you, what are you doing about it? Before you start to overthink this answer too, I'll tell you what you do. You simply overthink. You get lost in endless possibilities and outcomes to a given situation. However, you can remove this whole mental clutter simply by looking at the problems in this way. What is the problem? The steps you can take right away now to solve it and start taking the action right away. Boom! With this, you can precisely break down any problem in your life, no matter how big, and start solving them right away. Also, you'll realize sooner than later that the problems weren't as big as you thought. Therefore, begin developing this habit right now to destroy your overthinking arc. The reason problem steps action is on number 4 is exactly why this is so important. Your efforts are meaningless if you aren't consistently showing up every day. No matter how heavily it rains or how cold it is outside, no matter how good or bad you feel, you have to show up every day. That's just a brutal truth right there. But I'll show you a less brutal way to go about it when you're feeling too overwhelmed. It's the low bar technique I learned from this channel. So say you want to start developing the habit of doing push-ups. You're going good, you've made good progress, you're doing 100 reps a day. But one day, some shit happens and you don't wanna do it. You don't have the will or time to do those 100 reps. In this situation, just do 1 rep. Yes, just 1 rep. And that's your workout for today. It might sound hilarious to you, but this is exactly how you build a habit. It doesn't have to be 100 reps every day, but it has to be you showing up every day, no matter how big or small the effect it causes. I won't say more. Try it for this week. Try it with the habits I showed you, try it with all the 25 habits in the article, and try it with any other habits that you want to develop. And if you see changes, comment on the next video next week. Habits form the core of the ReVamp. Building these strong habits will prepare you even more for the change. And if you're ready for the change, welcome to the ReVamp.